Thank you for choosing the Canon C100 MK II recoil rig from Zacuto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly build and balance this rig so you can shoot comfortably and quickly all day long. The key to any recoil rig is balance, and the most important thing to remember is that your eye, shoulder, and hand placement never change. They will always be in the same spot. Recoil rigs move the camera image to your eye and camera control to your hands so we can set the camera on the shooter's shoulder and slide it as far behind the shooter as needed to achieve the best possible balance. So let's lay out the parts included in this kit. We've got a VCT Universal Baseplate that comes with two 6.5-inch rods. We've got the helmet for Canon C100 MK IIs, which is made up of the helmet, a Z-rail with a 15mm Z-lock on one end, and a double-sided dovetail clamp, and one Canon Grip Relocator that's attached to a 4.5-inch rod and has a swivel mount on the end. First things first, we need to mount the camera to the VCT Universal. Screw the VCT Universal's mounting screws into the respective mounting holes on the bottom of the camera about halfway. We found that more often than not, the balance point of the camera ends up being where the lens meets the camera body. So we recommend setting that point directly over the center of the shoulder pad and tightening it down there. Once we have the rig fully built, we'll use the VCT slide capacity to make further balancing adjustments. Now we've gone ahead and found some more specific placements for your camera to sit on the VCT Universal using the millimeter markings on top of that base plate. These placements set the camera to the perfect spot if you need to connect your lens's focus ring to a Z drive. If your VCT does not have these markings, you can measure them back from the plate's protruding edge. If you're using a very compact 50mm Zeiss Prime, the camera should have its front foot sitting on the VCT Universal's -3mm mark, which is almost all the way to the front. A slightly longer CP2 lens will allow me to push the camera back to the 27mm mark. The very common 24 to 70mm version 2 lens from Canon gets me back to 52, and when I put this Canon 30 to 105 Cine zoom lens on here, I can push the camera almost all the way back. Find where your lens should be and tighten down the screws. Before we continue, we highly recommend locking the VCT Universal into a VCT 14 or just mounting it directly to a tripod because building hands-free off of a stable base is going to be much easier. The rod riser in front of the VCT Universal can be adjusted to use any variety of accessories by loosening or removing the two screws that hold it on. But to get the rods to the lightweight industry standard, which will get a matte box to the correct height, you will need to orient the rod riser's rod ports to the bottom and raise the rod riser until its bottom edge is approximately 12mm from the surface of the VCT Universal's lip and tighten the screws down there. Now the center of the rods are the correct 85mm from the center of your lens, which is the lightweight industry standard. To use any recoil rig properly, you'll need to get an EVF to the correct position. We prefer mounting from a handle in order to keep the rod real estate in front of the VCT open for accessories, but the Canon C-Series handles are very weak, barely able to lift a heavy rig, let alone safely support a viewfinder. Zacuto's helmet for the Canon C100 MK II not only provides many extra mounting options, but it creates a stronger and adjustable base for Canon's handle. To mount, remove the camera's film plane screw and set it to the side. Set the helmet on top of the camera and align the top screw into the camera's cold shoe port and the side screw into the camera's film plane port and tighten both down firmly. You can return the film plane screw into the provided port on the side. Next, mount the included Z-rail onto the top of the helmet with the 50mm rod port positioned as far forward as possible. We recommend finding the center screw holes of the helmet and setting the rail one row to the left. This is because the next piece utilizes double-sided jaws, so it is slightly off-center. Locate the side with the locking pin and orient that to the top, and to the rear, slide the jaws on and tighten the piece to the rail with the inside or left lever. Slide the top handle's cold shoe into those locking jaws until it braces against the locking pin. There is a port to screw the handle's tie-down screw in before really firming the jaws grip on the handle with the outside or right lever. If you're using the Axis Mini to mount your viewfinder, insert its 15mm rod into the open rod port and tighten it down. The Axis Mini can support any viewfinder that uses a 1/4-20 screw and some proprietary viewfinders with special adapters, but it was made to mount viewfinders that utilize airy rosettes like the Zacuto Graticle. And remember that with an Axis Mini, whenever you go to a tripod, you can easily reorient the EVF to a much more comfortable upright position. To mount the grip, we must start with the included swivel. This piece's rod ports have independent 360-degree adjustability, so it can be oriented many different ways. But we found the best way to orient it in this situation is to tighten the rod port onto the front right rod, leaving the open rod port on the outside. Rotate the open rod port to the preferred position, insert the rod from the Grip Relocator and tighten it down. Insert the 1/8" plug from the Canon grip into the middle of the Grip Relocator until you feel the positive click. You can choose your desired angle of the grip on the Grip Relocator before you tighten it into place. With a flip of the red lever, you can adjust the angle of the grip using that ball joint. Insert the Grip Relocator's plug into the 1/8" port on the side of the camera until you feel the positive click, and now your rig is completely built and ready to be adjusted to the most comfortable position for your shooter. Use the VCT Universal slide capacity if you can to best balance the rig onto the center of the shoulder pad. Use the Axis Mini's 3 adjustment points and its side-to-side adjustability with its rod to get the EVF right into the shooter's eye, and adjust the Canon grip to the most comfortable position. Canon's top handle is now adjustable as well along the distance of that top-mounted Z-rail. Loosen the inside or left red lever and slide the handle until you get it to that balance point. This is going to make low-mode shots and even just carrying the rig around a lot easier on you. And if the need arises, we do offer a mounting bracket that firmly attaches to the top of the handle and provides extra mounting options. If your camera must be set further forward to connect to accessories, adding accessories to the rear of the VCT Universal greatly helps center the balance of a front-heavy rig. This can be accomplished with a Zacuto Swiss plate, with a battery, and/or a recorder mounted to it. The Swiss plate can be positioned several different ways on your rear rods, and if these accessories add too much back weight to the rig, you can slide the camera further forward while keeping your front-mounted accessories in the same position. We wish you the best when you're shooting with your Canon C100 Mark II recoil rig. And if you have any more questions or you want a little more information on specific parts, check out the product videos available on our website. Thanks for watching.